Hello, and welcome to Managerial Accounting. My name is Dr. Annette Moultrie. In this video, we will begin with Chapter 3. Chapter 3 deals with process costing. And as a disclaimer, this video and all other videos on my YouTube channel is intended for educational purposes only. I do not own the copyrights to the materials presented. All rights belong to their respective owners. Again, in this video, this is part 1 of Chapter 3. The learning objectives for Chapter 3 are: describe the flow of costs through a process costing system. 2, calculate equivalent units of production for direct materials and conversion costs. 3, prepare a production cost report for the first department using the weighted average method. Four, prepare a production cost report for subsequent departments using the weighted average method. 5, prepare journal entries for a process costing system. 6, use a production cost report to make decisions. And 7, prepare a production cost report using the first in, first out method. So let's begin with learning objective 1, which deals with describe the flow of costs through a process costing system. Job order costing is an accounting system that is designed to accumulate costs by individual jobs. It is typically used by companies that produce unique products or offer specialized services. On the other hand, some companies use a process costing system which accumulates costs by process. Now, this system is suited for companies that manufacture identical units through a series of uniform production steps. Both job order and process costing systems, they track the product cost of direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead through 3 inventory accounts on the balance sheet. And that is or are raw materials inventory, you have your work in process inventory, and the finished goods inventory. Now, the main differences between job order costing and process costing lie in how and when costs are recorded in work in process inventory. Job order costing uses a single work in process inventory account with a subsidiary ledger containing individual job cost records for each job. Now, costs are, they are transferred to finished goods inventory when the jobs are completed. Process costing, on the other hand, maintains separate work in process inventory accounts for each process or department. Here you see in Exhibit 3.2, it illustrates the company Puzzle Me's manufacturing operations. Now, Puzzle Me, of course, is a fictional jigsaw puzzle manufacturing company. It organizes its operations in 2 processes. They have the assembly and they have the cutting. Okay, so in the assembly department, glue is applied to the cardboard, and of course, a picture is pressed onto it. In the cutting department, they cut the cardboard into puzzle pieces and packages them into a box which is subsequently moved to finished goods storage. Now, during each process, production costs are accumulated and assigned to the puzzles passing through that stage. So at this company, Puzzle Me, each process functions as a separate department. Okay? So here you see in the assembly process, you have direct materials, which are the cardboard, the picture, and glue. You have also direct labor. You have workers operating press machines. Then you have the manufacturing overhead, where you have maintenance and depreciation on the pressing machines, partially completed puzzles entering the cutting process. In the cutting process that you see here, you have direct materials, of course. You have the box. You have direct labor, where you have workers operating cutting machines. And then you have the manufacturing overhead, where you have maintenance and depreciation on cutting machines. So after the cutting process, the puzzles are completed. At any given time, some puzzles are in the assembly stage while others are in the cutting stage. Calculating the cost of these puzzles becomes more complex when they are at various stages of the production cycle. The line entries that you see here, excuse me, line 1, you have assembly. The total cost is $220,000. The cost per puzzle is $4.40. Here you see line 2, you have cutting. Total cost is $45,000, and the cost per puzzle is 90 cents. And then line 3, you have the total cost for both the assembly and cutting. Total cost is $265,000, whereas the cost per puzzle is $5.30. So the total cost to produce 50,000 puzzles is the sum of the costs incurred for the two processes, the $265,000. The cost per puzzle is the total cost divided by the number of puzzles, or $265,000 divided by 50,000 puzzles equal $5.30 per puzzle. Companies use costing to determine the per unit cost in order to control costs, set sale prices, and calculate account balances for the work in process inventory, for the finished good inventory, and of course for the cost of goods sold. Here you see in Exhibit 3-3, it compares cost flows in a job order costing system for Smart Touch Learning and a process costing system for the company Puzzle Me. So here you see panel A. Panel A illustrates that a job order costing system has a single work in process inventory supported by individual job cost records for each job. And in panel B that you see below, it outlines the cost flow in a process costing system. Now, costs move through the work in process inventory assembly account to the work in process inventory cutting account before being transferred to finished goods inventory. And here you see in panel A, job order costing for Smart Touch Learning, there are job cost reports for job 27, 28, and 29. which include direct materials, direct labor, and then you have the manufacturing overhead for each job. So here on the balance sheet, you see jobs 27, 28, and 29, they are recorded in the work in process inventory, while jobs 27 and 28 are in finished goods inventory. Now, this is for the balance sheet. And to your right, you see the income statement. And on the income statement, job 27 is recorded in the cost of goods sold. So let's take a look at panel B, the process costing for Puzzle Me Company. You have direct materials, direct labor, and then you have manufacturing overhead that are recorded in work in process inventory accounts for mixing, molding, and packaging on the balance sheet. The work in process amounts for mixing are transferred to the molding work in process account, and the molding amounts are transferred to the packaging work in process account. The amounts from the packaging work in process account are transferred to finished goods inventory on the balance sheet, and the finished goods amounts are transferred to cost of goods sold on the income statement. Here we are starting with learning objective 3.2, which deals with calculate the equivalent units of production for direct materials and conversion costs. Now, companies may have products still in process at the end of the accounting period. The total production costs incurred in each process, they must be split between the units that have been completed in that process and transferred to the next process, and the units not completed and remaining in the work in process inventory. Here you see in Exhibit 3-4, it illustrates the point that all costs must be accounted for. They must either remain in the department or be transferred to the next department. Equivalent units of production, or EUP. Now, the equivalent units of production is used to measure the amount of materials added to or work done on partially completed units and is expressed in terms of fully complete units. EUP. So let's assume that the company Puzzle Me has 40,000 units that the assembly department completed and they transferred out. So the equivalent units would be 40,000 units, which is 100% complete for both direct materials and conversion costs. At the end of the accounting period, Puzzle Me and 10,000 units in the assembly department's work in process inventory. Okay, so at the end of the accounting period, Puzzle Me had 10,000 units in the assembly department's work in process inventory. Now, these units are 100% complete for direct materials and 25% complete for conversion. So in terms of EUP, or equivalent units of production, The 10,000 partially completed units equate to 10,000 EUP for direct materials and 2,500 EUP for conversion costs. Now, this example highlights an important point, and that is the equivalent units of production can differ for direct materials and conversion costs, necessitating separate calculations for each. Okay, so this is the end of part 1 of chapter 3. In our next video, we will begin with part 2 and start with learning objective 3.3. So in this video, we covered learning objectives 1 and 2. And in part 2, we will start with learning objective 3. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to click the like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will reply to you.